as Omar mentioned about the Islamic Finance Task Force on SDGs, there are a number of initiatives that form that task force. The one that I'm going to talk to you about today is the education and awareness subgroup. And it's a very important area that we've prioritized because there are a number of stakeholders in the Islamic finance industry, from shareholders, boards, staff, and consumers, where I think we feel, and our kind of initial hypothesis is that education and awareness of the UN Sustainable Development Goals is not as great as it could be. And maybe that is what's hampering the take-up of the SDGs within Islamic finance institutions. And so I'm going to quickly share some slides of where we are with an initiative within the education and awareness screen. So just bear with me 1 second while I bring that live. Share. Right, so hopefully you can see the title page. So one of the key initiatives that the Education and Awareness Group have defined and have initiated is a global retail survey. So of the stakeholders I mentioned, we felt that we would tackle consumers first because they are ultimately the commercial drivers for Islamic finance institutions, particularly in retail. If consumer demand was apparent, then that would trigger, a mind shift in boards and staff and management. So that's kind of one of the reasons. We've got a number of reasons for doing that. So as I mentioned, it was seen as a priority. It was also to take a bottom-up approach, as well as influencing boards and CEOs and central banks, which some of the other work streams are focused on. We wanted to also approach the issue of SDGs and Islamic finance from the bottom up through consumers, and hopefully highlight the importance of the sustainability goals for our customers, for those of us who work in retail Islamic finance. And if we could show some evidence for consumer support, well, then actually that made the case a lot stronger. And even if there was low awareness, we wanted a baseline where Islamic finance consumers were in relation to sustainable development goals. I mean, do they understand even the terminology, or actually is it the actual goals themselves that they understand without the framework? So there's a number of interesting things that we wanted to understand. And then finally, there's an opportunity coming from the survey, because the survey would produce information both for the institution, both for the country that it was also run in, and also across the globe, to see if there were trends, commonalities, differences. And it would hopefully provide information for those Islamic finance institutions to take up the opportunity and essentially build products that appealed to the particular nuances of their consumer base, and ultimately build consumer loyalty and show commercial benefits. Ultimately, we feel you've got to join the two up to really bring SDGs and Islamic finance together. So that's essentially why we did the survey. Some of the specific goals of the survey, which are kind of reflected in the why. But we wanted the current state of awareness, and it's a benchmark to kind of build on going forward. We may run the survey periodically to see if it's improving from the position that we were in today. We wanted to establish whether that demand from consumers would impact their consumption. So it's a bit more specific than what I mentioned before. So it's saying, actually, if you've got a green element, for example, in your product, does it make you want to consume that product more? So very much a consumer behavior question. And also, which of the sustainable development goals resonates most with the consumers of Islamic finance Is it climate, or is it more social type goals, like poverty? And finally, it's not finally, but do consumers want to find out more about SDGs? And maybe the survey actually also has a benefit as of and of itself, that actually it raises awareness itself, the survey. And do you want to find out more, and what channels do you want to find out more about the Sustainable Development Goals? And of course, as I mentioned, what are the variations between institutions and regions? So some of the organizations, and these are some of the organizations that have taken part. There are general consumers as well, and there's a few other institutions in the mix, but these are the prominent institutions. Clearly, UKIFC ourselves. The video's just cut off, 1 second. Clearly, UKIFC themselves. Jay's Bank of Nigeria, we've had fantastic response in Nigeria, phenomenal response to the survey there. Gatehouse Bank in the UK, CIMB Malaysia, HBL in Pakistan, and Islamic Bank Australia, a new Islamic bank. So we've got 4 continents there by my count. If there's anybody on the video or who's watching this seminar that would like to get involved, to participate, if they represent an Islamic finance institution, please contact myself or anybody at UKIFC, and we can get your institution involved in this valuable survey. Now, it's been running for about a month or so. What are the indicators thus far? So I'm going to try and move a slide along. For some reason, it's not moving. Just 1 second. Right, here we are. So we've had nearly 1,800 responses so far, and that's pretty much what we'd expected at this stage. But it's not bad. It's statistically valid, and we're hoping to get a lot more by the end of the survey period. Early trends then, and it's quite interesting. So 95% of the respondents do think it's important that finance products fit in with their values and ethics. I suspect, for Islamic finance, we knew that, but actually this is just as reinforced, what we knew about the value-led consumer. 74% are aware of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which is actually, I think, thus far, as I say, this is live. It's midway through the survey. I think it's quite interesting. So the terminology isn't alien, which is really important. And in the survey, we simplify it a little bit because there's a lot of buckets in the SDGs. We've grouped them, but interestingly, and maybe it's reflective of the audience and the countries that have the survey's gone to, but reducing poverty and hunger, health and well-being, and clean water and sanitation are the most important areas for most people who've responded. And we'll see, once we've done the regional variations, I think we'll get a bit more nuanced information as to which regions have which goals as a priority. And I think because this has been a little bit of an ongoing survey, and people have been impacted, for example, by flooding and whatnot. I think that this may be an evolving area. And most importantly, 87% of respondents are willing to spend more on banking products that are aligned to Sustainable Development Goals. So that's, I think that shows that that people are willing to pay a premium. I think we know that from non-financial products to a degree. People pay more for organic food and environmentally conscious coffee, for example, but actually they're willing to do so for banking products, which is interesting. And then finally, social media is the source they want to find out about SDGs and Islamic finance more. And in particular, Facebook, actually, it's not on the slide, but Facebook seems to be the social media outlet of choice. So these are the trends thus far. These are early trends. We'll know more as the survey ends, and there'll be more analysis and more specific answers to the question.